Hello, Gemini. Welcome. Take a seat and relax. There is nothing you need to do in this present moment except to enjoy your reading. So for this week, we have a little bit of a darker lighting, a little mood lighting, right? Because I really wanted to use my salt rock lamp. And if I had my normal lighting, then you can't really see the lamp. You can't really see the colors. So I decided to leave it a little darker for this week. I hope you can still see the cards. But either way, let's enjoy this week's reading. And we start with my card number 21 from the Office Oracle deck. This is the grass is always greener card. This is when Michael and Jim, they were co-managers, and then a new company bought them out, and one of them had to step down because there was only going to be one manager, and the other one was going to step down to a salesman. But then they both figure out that salesman would make a lot more money than a manager. Right? So Michael eventually says he'll step down to salesman, and Jim here ended up being the manager. But Michael wasn't having any fun being salesman because Michael has always wanted to be a manager. That is where he shines. That is his home. That is his what he was meant to do. His passion, right, is to be manager, not a salesman. Even though he was a great salesman, but he really loved being a manager. And in this scene, Michael comes in and tells Jim, "You know what's funny? I used to stand in here and wish I was out there. Now I'm out there and I wish I was in here." Right? Jim says, "Well, the grass is always greener." Michael replies, "Except there's no grass out there." And eventually, they did end up switching back, right? And Michael was the happiest man alive. He was manager again. He was right where he needed to be. He was doing what he loved and what he always wanted to do. So it's very easy, especially nowadays with social media and everything, to look at other people's lives and wish that you had their lives. But everyone has their positive and negative, and ultimately your soul decided they wanted to have your life. Right? So grass is always greener. Right? Your soul was like, "Oh, I want to be up there." So he starts living your life, and then starts saying, "Hey, I wish I was that person over there instead." It was really about enjoying where you are. This is really about, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. And, let's figure out why you chose this life. Let's figure out why you chose this human being instead of wishing that we were other people. Because I promise those other people are also wishing that they were someone else and not them. And another thing that I think is very important, especially nowadays, that we're being forced down our throat, that apparently money is what you want. Money, make more money, more, And to me, a business isn't about making money. A business is about providing a service. Money is a side quest that leads you to be able to keep providing your customers with a service. It's not about making more money. It's not about being able to squeeze the most money that you can out of your customers. It's about providing a service. And today it's like, oh no, you gotta make more money. You gotta make more money. Only the people that are most successful are the ones that make most money, And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's real. And it's very obvious with how the world is right now that that's not what we should strive for, right? Like, for example, too, like all parents want their kids to do better than them, right? Like evolution, right? the next offspring, it should be better and better and better and better, right? So I asked my dad, I asked him, "So how am I gonna know that when I'm doing better than you? When will I know that? What do I need to look for to be better than you? And he couldn't think of anything, and he finally said, "When you have more money than me." And I looked at him like, "Really? That's what makes me better that's what's gonna make me better than you? Not being a better person, not the way I treat people, but how much money I make? I have to make more money than you, and I'm gonna be a disgrace and a failure until I make more money than you. Like, and I thought that was horrible thing to say, and a horrible, that means that Trump is the best one out there, right? All those millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires that, screw people over, screw the environment over. Apparently that's what you want. That's success here in America. And, I don't believe that. Michael, he would have made more money as a salesman, but he really loved was to be a manager. So he preferred to make less money and to do what he loves, instead of to make more money. So, yeah, apply that to your situation. Apply that to what you want to do in your life. Because I think it's all about doing what you love and not about who makes the most money. Okay, yep, see, look at that. And the Two of Cups, though. So this is about relations. This is usually the love card, but this is more about the relationships with other people. Not just love. I mean, there is love in friendships. There is love in family, right? And we are talking about the cups. So we are talking about your emotions. We are zooming in on your emotions, right? There's 4 suits. We're going to ignore the other 4 suits right now, and we're going to zoom in on your emotions. How do you feel when you relate to the people around you? Right, Michael says he wishes he was in there. When he was in there, he wished he was out there. When he's out there, he wished he was in here. That's not really appreciating the relationships that you have around you. And the 10 of Wands, so fire is all about movement, right? Now imagine, just like us, we wake up in the morning full of energy, right? Well, not morning, only morning people, right? I'm not really a morning person, so I don't wake up with full of energy. I have to wake up slowly. But you have an amount of energy, right? And throughout the day, you get more tired and more tired the more you do stuff, right? And fire is all about that movement. So we have already gone through the Ace through the 9 movement. That's a lot of movement, After a lot of movement, we end up, at the end of the day, we go to sleep because of all of this movement. We go to rest. And same with exercising, right? So much movement. Rest afterwards is equally as important as all of this movement. And eventually you get tired from so much movement. This person has moved so much, has gathered so much experience, a lot of trauma, and eventually starts weighing down. It makes you feel more tired. Look at that. He can't even look up, or he can't even walk while he's standing up straight. He's leaning over because of all of this movement. And he feels a little down, right? He's looking down. But so we're talking about our emotions here. Emotions are feeling down, and we are zooming in on the relationships with other people, with the people around you. So why are these relationships making you feel so down? Two of Wands possibilities, 10 of Cups harmonies. Okay, so things aren't in harmony, or else you wouldn't have started out with this 10 of Wands. The good things about this 10 of Wands, right, is after the 10, we go back to the 0. We'll go back to the Ace of the next suit. We get so tired of this thing that's happening that something finally happens. A change finally happens. And this is a possibility, harmony. This is a change that can happen. Right? This is like being in a situation where you are so tired of it that you finally decide to leave, right? Or a situation where you're so tired of it that you finally decide to speak up, that you finally decide to do something about the situation. Because in any situation, there are 3 possible reactions you can have, right? 1 is nothing, keep doing whatever is going on, being okay with whatever is going on, no change, right? 2 is try to do a change, try to make a change, try to do something different, right, in this situation. And then 3 is to leave the situation because it no longer serves you and you're just so tired of it. So this feels like this is a moment where one of those 3 things should happen. If you are complaining about whatever is going on, if it is stressing you out so much, either right now decide, okay, things are the way that they are. I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to start being okay with it, right? Because you're talking about your emotions. What motions does your human factory body want to create? What chemicals does it want to create inside, right? Nobody else can dictate your emotions. Only you can dictate what emotions, and especially if you aren't listening to them, right? He's not looking at the wands. He's looking down. He's not looking up and around. So maybe emotions aren't being listened to, right? That's the reason we have emotions, or to give us information, right, about certain situations. Right? This makes me angry. Well, why is this making me angry? Right? This makes me sad. Well, why is it making me sad? And then let's try to do something about it, right? This makes me happy. Oh, why does this make me happy then? Why do I want to keep looking for those type of situations and opportunities that keep making me happy, right? These are the possibilities that we have. But here, it's like a burden. We're just carrying it and we're not letting go, even though it's, the situation isn't really in harmony. This isn't really what you want, right? Grass is always greener. This is a possibility that you have. The 2 of Wands, right? This is now, right? We're talking about the end of the fire, of so much movement. You're so tired from moving so much. Now we're at the 2 of fire, which is the beginning, right? We're just starting. So this is energized. This is all of the things that you can branch out with. By the 10 of Wands, we are branched down to this because this is the only thing that we think needs to happen, or is going to happen, or that's it, right? But from the beginning, you start with all of these possibilities, a bunch of branches. But it seems like, the most important one is harmony. Being harmonized with the people around you, being harmonized with your emotions as well. Relationships take 2. Look at how this is like half a heart, right? This is your part, right? If this is your part and you're bringing this into the situation, well, I really doubt that other second part is going to appear. But see, that's another possibility. We have harmonize our emotions, and then we can have these relations with others, because harmony brings harmony, right? Hurt people, right? So people that are loved are gonna also love people. What is that golden rule? Treat others how you want them to treat you, right? So if you treat people like this, well, you're most likely gonna get it back, because life is a mirror. Hanged Man, okay. And Truce, cool, right? Truce, this feels like harmony, but we are in the swords. So now we're talking about the thoughts, right? Over here we zoomed in our emotions. Now over here, let's start zooming in on our thoughts. What kind of thoughts are we creating, especially about this situation, right? Because the thoughts can fuel this fire of emotions, right? If these emotions are feeling like this, feeling more negative, well, the negative thoughts are going to keep popping up. And if you focus on those negative thoughts, then that's going to fuel these negative emotions. But we have the Hanged Man with Truce. The Hanged Man, right? He is in a situation where he is upside down. But the more he struggles, right, the more he fights this, the more he's going to hurt himself. So the Hangman decided to be still, to let what is happening happen. He is calling truce with his situation, because he doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to keep hurting himself. So now imagine what it would feel like for these thoughts to call truce with these thoughts, with these negative thoughts that keep popping up, that keep firing, fueling this burden. So we need some stillness. Right over here in fire, we said it's always moving, right? And imagine those swords always moving. Ching, 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 ching. But here, in this Four of Swords, this truce, they're not moving anymore. They're still. So I wonder what would happen in this situation if stillness enters the chat. So start with stillness. If you want this type of harmony, if you want to have these good relationships with the ones around you, if you don't want to feel all of these horrible emotions and horrible thoughts that keep fueling each other, I recommend stillness. And what's going to happen after stillness? Who knows? Let's find out. Let's experiment. Alright, and to end this, we're going to have a bit of words of advice from the Office Oracle deck. 17. Cool. Okay. Things have been very serious lately. Right? All work and no play make Michael a dull boy. Be a kid again. Play, dance, move that body while you have it. And the most important thing is have fun. Right, we were even talking about the money situation over here. He has more fun being a manager than being a salesman. So he chose fun over money. And yeah, start doing things that get you excited and full of wonder again. Do you really think you came to this place just to work and be miserable all of your life? Right? This guy is working and is miserable. Is that what you want? If so, then go for it. That's you. And then but that's not what I wanted. That's why I'm here making these videos. So yeah, explore, create, right? That's what makes us different than all of the other animals. We're animals as well, but the only thing that differentiates us from other animals is we have creativity, right? We can create. So let's start using that creativity. Yeah, think of the things that you loved doing as a child and spark that fun in yourself again. That is what's going to bring this harmony. That is what's going to help as well these relationships, because when you bring this type of fun, when you bring this type of energy, this type of wonder and excitement, then, you know, life is a mirror. The other side of the heart will appear naturally. And 34, yep, this is the thoughts. Cool. So this kind of explained the emotions. Now this is explaining the thoughts, right? That the situation is creating. And this is my card of Words Are Powerful card, right? This is when Jim and Pam were doing marriage counseling, and they really shocked him here because they were talking in a very weird manner, right? They were told to speak positively, to look for opportunities, right? Everything, instead of saying it negatively, right? These thoughts, try to flip it into a way to where it's more positive, right? So acknowledge and appreciate and speak your truth, right? And do that as well for the people around you. Let them acknowledge, appreciate, and speak their own truth, right? And that's what Jim and Pam were doing, right? It takes two for a relationship to work, right? Look at that. It takes two. Everything has a positive and a negative, right? So it's your job to, which one you want to focus on, which one do you want to look at. Sometimes it's good to look at the negative, right? Just like there was a fire, I put my hand in it, ow, I hurt myself, right? That's a negative, but it was a positive because that's telling me that if I keep putting my hand in fire, it's going to hurt myself, right? I'm going to eventually not have a hand. So it's a good thing that I got hurt, because then my hand went away, right? You know, that's not where you want to go. That's all that negative is telling you, where it's kind of guiding you to where you do want to go. So let's thank the negative things for guiding you to where you do want to go. So if things have seemed all negative lately, try to cancel that out with a bit more of positive thinking, a little more positive words, because words are very powerful. So make sure you are watching the way you're talking, and then your emotions will follow, because these positive thoughts are going to fuel those positive emotions just as much as the negative thoughts fueled those negative emotions. Cool. All right, well, thank you. Oh, this thing has been moving apparently the whole time. But thank you for being here. I hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well by leaving a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we are trying to figure life out together. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.